Welcome to Islamic Knowledge Hub, authentic Islamic teachings, wisdom, and inspiration. Subscribe and grow with knowledge.
All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever really stopped to think about what faith actually is? You know, in a lot of traditions, it's so much more than just a private idea you keep in your head. It's really meant to be a complete roadmap for how you live your entire life. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures what we're talking about today. It frames faith as this dynamic, living thing. It's not something you just have. It's something you actively do and express in, well, pretty much every way possible. So that's the big question for this explainer, isn't it? If faith is this active conviction, what are its essential parts? How does it actually go from being a feeling in your heart to a real, tangible action out in the world? To even begin talking about the requirements of faith, we've got to get on the same page about what it even means. So let's start with the absolute core concept. Okay, so according to the source material, Iman, or faith, is seen as this whole three-part system. And notice the flow here. It's really important. It kicks off with a sincere internal belief, something that happens in the heart. That's then followed by a verbal declaration, and finally, it's all proven through your physical deeds and actions. All three are absolutely essential to the whole picture. Now, those three parts we just mentioned, the heart, the tongue, and our actions, they're not just boxes to tick off a list. A better way to think about them is as three separate but totally interconnected dimensions that together make up a complete faith. So check this out. You can really see the journey laid out here. It all starts with tasdeeq. That's the sincere affirmation in the heart. Think of it like the root of a tree. It's the foundation that nobody else sees. Then you have qawl, the verbal declaration, which is how you bring that hidden belief out into the open. And finally, you get amal, or action. These are the fruits of that belief, the real-world proof that it's genuine. It's a clear path from the inside out. Okay, so if faith is this whole structure built on those three dimensions, what's holding it all up? Every good building needs a solid foundation, right? Well, that's exactly where the pillars come in. These are basically the load-bearing walls of the whole structure. It all starts with the absolute core, belief in God. Right after that comes belief in the unseen. Accepting that there are realities beyond what we can immediately see or touch. And from those core beliefs, it moves right into core practices. Upholding prayer, which is that direct line of connection, and paying charity, which directly links your personal faith to your responsibility to your community. So we've got the definition, we've got the pillars, but what does all this actually look like day to day? This next part is all about where that belief turns into actual behavior. And this is where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? How do you get from these big abstract ideas and pillars to a concrete moral code that actually guides what you do every single day? And here's the answer, laid out pretty clearly for us. Faith, in this view, actually demands that you actively work on specific virtues. We're talking about fundamental character traits like being truthful, being trustworthy, having sincerity, honoring your promises, practicing humility, and always striving for justice. These aren't seen as nice-to-haves. They're considered the required results of real belief. So here's the bottom line. Your character is the evidence. According to this framework, you just can't pull your faith apart from your ethics. One is supposed to be the living proof of the other. It's that simple. And of course, if there's a list of do's, you can bet there's a list of don'ts. This is really just the other side of that same ethical coin. Things like deceit, betrayal, arrogance, and injustice, they're seen as completely incompatible with faith because they're the polar opposite of the very virtues it's supposed to be building inside you. All right, so we've got the definition, the pillars, and the moral code. What's left? Well, this last section is all about how you take all these pieces and weave them together to create a complete, holistic way of life. This chart is just a fantastic way to visualize this. Look at how faith isn't just stuck in one part of your life. You've got the acts of the heart, like sincerity and love. You've got acts of the tongue, like speaking truthfully. You've got physical acts, like prayer. But see how it also specifically includes our social conduct and our ongoing spiritual development? The goal is for it to touch every single part of who you are. And really, this is what it all boils down to. This is the idea that ties our entire explainer together. The ultimate goal is harmony. The idea that your inner thoughts, the words you speak, and the things you do should all be singing the same song, all pointing in the same direction, all reflecting that core belief. So, to wrap it all up, the journey of faith we've been talking about is really a journey toward integration. It's about becoming a person whose entire life, from their quietest thoughts to their most public actions, is just a seamless, consistent reflection of their deepest held convictions. And that leaves us with one final thing to think about. We've seen how a framework like this is designed to shape what a person does. But let's take it a step further. How does a belief system this comprehensive end up shaping an individual's entire view of reality, their sense of purpose, and their very place in the world?